Hi all, and welcome to the last week of the summer session of Trails to Tasting. And today we shall be doing something a little different. We're going to be making a Boozey Green Smoothie. And the cool thing is we get to use some more savory plants or greens, which we don't often add into our berry or fruit or flower-filled cocktails. So this will be something a little different. We're going to be using primarily this big boy behind me. This is lamb's quarters, and we'll also be using a little tiny succulent that we find growing around here called Purslane. So let's figure out how to identify those two, and then we'll get to making our smoothie. Here is our lamb's quarters, and right now it is pretty tall in the garden. You can see it stands up in front of the window. And the way that we can identify that is by this feature right here. They have a waxy coating, and it rained last night, and we can see all of the water beading up on top, easy enough to just wipe on off, but it's definitely something that is iconic of lamb's quarter. It's that white waxy coating. We can see on the bottom of the leaf it is slightly glaucous, and just like the raspberry stems, if you remember, we can actually rub that glaucous coating right off. Lamb's quarter also has these diamond-shaped, toothed and diamond-shaped leaves. The stems are very rigid and edged, very similar to the mugwort that we used previously. But you can actually look and see each of the ridges along the stem. They also have these purple striations, especially near each of the nodes. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Also slightly unique to lamb's quarters is the fact that at each node we have one stem or one branch coming out with one single leaf coming out of the same node right beneath that. And that's on each of the stems. Even if they're young, we have a primary branch growing from the node and then one single leaf. This can be used anyway, just like a spinach would. So you can eat these raw, you can eat the stems. So we're just going to harvest as much as we want for our green smoothie. All depends on how much green you like in your smoothie. So I'll be foraging about half a cup-ish to create my smoothie today. But keep in mind that just like spinach, and this is called wild spinach, that these are high in oxalates, which is what can help form kidney stones. They're really high in other sorts of nutrients, so it does make them very good for us to eat, just something to be aware of. Our lamb's quarter here specifically can be really great for bird populations, and this is because this is actually part of the quinoa family. The quinoa, spinach, beets, they're all related. So these guys produce some really great grain-like seeds that migratory birds do enjoy. So just also keep that in mind as you are foraging. Here is our purslane, and you can see it is much more succulent of leaf. Each of the little bits of foliage are pretty thick, and it has this thick stem as well. It comes out of one single basal point of attachment in the ground, and we often find them in dry areas. So here I have the edge of a garden where we can find our purslane. These are really great, high, very high actually, in omega-3 fatty acids, so a great way to get it in your diet, especially if you don't like salmon. These are also really anti-inflammatory and can be used to relieve headaches. So that is a fun fact of purslane. This is not the purslane. This is what it is commonly confused with, called spurge. And spurge, if you break the stem, has milky sap, white milky sap. It's been pretty dry, so it's not profusely spreading sap around. But this also is not very succulent in nature. It's much more woody stems, and I guess you could call it thin, leafy, dry foliage. You will also notice sometimes that spurge will get these little dark dots on the center of each of their leaves. Back to the purslane, if we snap this stem, no sorts of sappy, milky sap is gonna come out. So another way to identify it. For this cocktail, I do want to harvest about 1/4 cup of the purslane. Once we have washed our greens, we can now start to making our Boozey smoothie. So what you're going to want to do is either take the leaves whole, or you can chop them up really fine. I know my blender is going to do the chopping for me, so I'm just gonna pop them straight in. Next, I'm going to add some berries, and you can add berries in whatever combination you want. Personally, for this smoothie, I really enjoy blueberries and any other sorts of foraged berries. So this summer, I have been foraging wine berries for a project, so I'm gonna add just a couple of those. That was not just a couple, that was a lot. And then blueberries. Gonna add more strawberries, but the wine berries are gonna do that job, so I'll only add 1 or 2 strawberries. Ice cubes. I want this to be a slushy, smooth mix, so I'm just gonna add a couple of ice cubes. Again, all of these combinations are to taste, so whatever you like. If you like really strong, fruity, and very creamy, you don't need to add any extra ice cubes. If you like really green tasting, stick with primarily greens and maybe only add a couple tiny berries to it. It's all up to you. And now's the fun part. The rum. We're going to be adding rum to this cocktail, and we're only going to add about 1/4 of what is in the blender, and that's actually to help the blender run smoothly. So this will be the liquid that we add. If you don't want it to be that rum heavy, you can also add juice. Once you've finished with your rum, you may notice you need to top it off a little bit, or top off with juice. That's totally cool too. We're going to pop it on and blend it all up. Ooh, look at that. We have got some great color. Look at all those antioxidants, all the... Oh, I forgot to mention, Purslane is really high in calcium as well, which is great if you're combining them with oxalates, like the lamb's quarters here. So just, so much good stuff in this little glass. So cheers to summer, and to foraging, and to discovering the natural world. Yep, wild spinach all the way. Tastes exactly as if I just dumped a whole bunch of spinach in here, which kind of makes sense. Very bright, very fresh. Honestly, great breakfast smoothie, although I don't know if you want the rum in it at that point, but this is great. Otherwise, just omit the rum and you'll be good to go. Still keep those greens though. They will keep you nice and refreshed. Did you enjoy this summer session of Trails to Tasting? I super hope you did. I had a great time with it, discovering some weirder plants and some newer cocktails to try out. So if you did, subscribe here to stay tuned year-round, regardless of if it's Trails to Tasting season or not. The rain. And you can get more information about the natural world that we are a part of. So fresh.